Call the City of Prescott Planning Commission meeting to order. Date is Monday, April 1st, 2024, 6 p.m. I'll take a roll call. Steve? Here. Josh? Here. Kate?
Here.
Mike?
Here.
And the mayor is not going to make it tonight. Next on the agenda is approve the Plan Commission minutes for March 4th.
Motion to approve as written.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any conversation on that motion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Next on the agenda, we have public hearing for the revisions to zoning ordinance, chapter 635. Carter?
Thank you, John. So what we have tonight are proposed ordinance revisions for the following ordinances. 635-9D, small box discount stores, 635-21I2, rear yard setbacks, and 635-55G2, number of stalls. First one, small box discount stores. This is under discussion to limit new development to small box discount stores within the city of Prescott. The city has heard from citizens and others about the excess of small box discount stores within the city. This ordinance would help address any concerns about future small box discount stores in the city. Written comments intended for the public hearing were included in your guys' packets regarding this one as well. The next two regarding 635-21I2 minimum yards and 635-55G number of stalls. Minimum yards, this ordinance revision is aimed at aligning the rear yard standards in the C1 Central Commercial District to be consistent with the side yard standards. Previously, rear yards had a required 25-foot setback in the C1 district. As proposed, rear yards would be required to be 10 feet for non-fireproof construction and 0 feet for fireproof construction, which would be the same as side yards. 635-55G for number of stalls. This would rectify the unintentional omission from our last zoning code revision in 2023. This would be for the exemption of C1 parcels from off-street parking requirements regarding the number of stalls there. This was initially included in the former zoning code, but accidentally got crossed out in the revisions made in August 2023. So this would just be adding it back in. So recommendation tonight, open public hearing on the proposed ordinances. And recommend the following to the council for consideration. If there are any questions, we could help answer those. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to the Plan Commission.
Just the last one, 635-55. So it was the same as before?
Yep.
It was just left off?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions or comments for Carter? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call to open the public hearing. Steve?
Yes.
John, sorry. We need a motion and second and then roll call after that.
Thank you.
Make a motion to go into open public hearing.
I second that.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now the roll call.
Now the roll call. Steve?
Yes.
Josh?
Aye.
Okay.
Here.
Mike?
Aye.
All right, we're now in public hearing.
I believe you all have a copy of a letter I sent, and it comes under the heading of unintended consequences. This ordinance is untested in the state of Wisconsin, and it's my contention that we could very easily become the victim of a shark law firm coming after us on behalf of potential customers. So I would encourage you to table this until you can fine-tune it enough that it would survive a legal attack. And I have no feelings on the other two items you're up on. I just think I'm kind of concerned that you have a company come into town, buy property, invest what is probably multi-million dollars into our community, and they're greeted with noses in the air. That kind of bothers me. They're going to be paying taxes, just like property taxes, just like everybody else. I'm kind of concerned with the precedent of we don't want you. When we already have businesses, we have one business in town that's selling items that as soon as you buy them, you go out in your car and you get pulled over, you will be charged with paraphernalia possession. We have another business and that's not covered under this ordinance, that's basically selling jazzed up hemp. And it comes under the same thing as the gambling machines that are quasi-legal in every bar, and so on and so forth. So if we're going to start trying to dictate business activities and plans, we're stepping into something that could get really ugly really fast. So if you want to pass it, that's fine with me, but I don't know if the taxpayers of Prescott want to be paying for defense of the legalities for this type of thing. All right.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
And I just want to comment on that. Totally see where you're coming from, Tom, on that. But I just want to make sure everybody's clear that this is not intending, this ordinance, or potential new ordinance, was not intending to stop the Dollar Tree that's currently being built.
Correct.
I just want to make sure everybody's clear on that.
It's to prevent them from more of those types of businesses coming to town, correct?
Which doesn't even encapsulate the whole town. I believe it was like 7,000 feet. And so somebody could put one up on the south end of town still, theoretically, I think.
Absolutely.
No, didn't you say when we were talking about this last month that there was a precedent set in Oshkosh that has an ordinance of this?
There is one community that we found that has a similar type of ordinance, but again, there's never been a legal argument or a court case that's been brought forth and actually gone all the way through to validate its.
I mean, do we have to be concerned for that? Is some big conglomerate, like, what's another dollar store? Family Dollar gonna come in and be like, we wanna put a store here, we're gonna sue you for this ordinance kind of thing?
I mean, I think that's a legitimate argument. At any time when you have an ordinance that you're looking to put in place that somebody can fight in, and then if you actually are going to stand by your ordinance, you're going to have to put in, the legal and pay the fees to fight it and make sure that your ordinance stands. And that's why, generally speaking, when you look, for instance, we just did something similar to this with our tobacco restriction ordinance, where we restricted the amount of tobacco from a health and safety perspective that could go into the city. And with that ordinance specifically, we had other communities like the city of Hudson we followed their blueprint and what others have done. So, I mean, ideally, we'd have a list of, other communities that have done something like this, but in this particular instance, there aren't that in the state of Wisconsin. I will say, in talking with our city attorney who helped us draft this, he did say that what he's found is most of these communities that implement them, these types of companies are basically saying, well, if you don't want to work with us, we'll just go elsewhere. So that's,
Is that in surrounding states you're talking, or?
yeah, I didn't get as specific, but I think overall across the country in terms of when other communities have done this type of thing.
I think Tom's concern is that, yes, this ordinance may or may not hold up against
Yes,
in court against a.
but why would they wanna waste their time and money, would come in Prescott be that lucrative?
I mean, I can't answer that, but clearly Dollar Tree thinks so. Any other comments on any of these revisions to the Chapter 365.
I think Tom's got a legitimate point, you know, that whenever you run into legal, when people want to challenge illegally, it tends to be pretty expensive. It'd be nice if there was some precedent, if there was some jurisprudence on this, but there's not. So as a result, we are sticking our neck out a little bit on doing this, but when we went through this originally, I was questioning the verbiage on it to make sure that, you know, the city attorney thought that it was fine-tuned, as you say. Without being an attorney, I guess I'm okay with the language as it is.
I kind of liked the language in there. I thought I think there was something in there about, the health and wellness, I think, came into play a little bit.
I listened to talk radio and they were talking about this on NPR one day. And they were saying that, they are doing this all over across the country, and the problem is these stores come in here, and then these little small towns, they lose their grocery store because they can't make enough money. Well, then you have no produce, fresh meat.
Yeah, I've watched a very similar, you know, some sort of news story on it, very similar. I don't know if that applies to Prescott or not. I don't think
it would, but
I don't
I'm
think
just saying.
Dollar Tree's putting Protects out of business.
No.
But yeah, would be, I think it's something to consider.
I like that this doesn't say we're not gonna allow it anymore, it's just they're not gonna be too close to each other. So does the city of Prescott get a third Dollar General, Dollar whatever? It, you know, could happen someday, it's just not gonna be right next to the other two. And we've already got two, I suppose, so.
I think that's a fair point. I mean,
I
it
like
does say it was 7,000 feet, so I feel like, I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like there's
Plus,
still an
like,
option.
Who's to say if I wanted to go down to like the Jake Seeds blocks where it's zone commercial and want to build a residential house, like I'm gonna be told no. I'd love to hear a lawyer's opinion on like how a city can protect itself from being too much of one thing. You obviously want to be a marble of different offerings, and you got to be able to control that somehow legally.
So Matt, are we looking to move all three of these amendments to council tonight?
That would be up, that would be up for your consideration tonight if that's what the plan commission after closing public hearing wants to do. That is up to your purview in terms of making that decision. Or if you have a different recommendation, you can also make that as well.
I just think if we're looking at planning for Prescott's future, I feel like, and I'm speaking for myself, I don't wanna see another Family Dollar come in on top of the other two that we already have. I mean, I don't know if this includes any other, I mean, like, I think there's one other one, like Five Below or something, but I just don't, I feel like, for me, it's kind of a no-brainer. The legal thing does concern me a little bit, but I don't know, at what point do you make that choice? Because then we'll be looking at having a third, or, you know, down the road.
Thoughts?
I'm fine with it, as is.
Me as well.
Mike?
Yeah, as I stated, I'm fine with the work that our attorney's done on the language on it. I think it serves a purpose that we were talking about, that we didn't want them stacked 1, 2, 3, that thing. 7,000 feet, it's gonna be an issue if anybody comes in. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a quick question for you guys. When did, just hypothetically, did come into town and want to build?
Oh, you gotta
Yeah, you
go
got
up
Come up to the podium, please.
I was just looking on my Onyx app, doing 7,000 feet, it's like one.
Tell us your name and where you
Yeah,
live.
Stuart Polk from Gibb Street here in town. Like, 7,000 feet is like, what, 1.3 something miles? I don't think it's gonna touch anywhere in town, in the city limits anyways. I mean, nowhere close anyways, it'd be south town, but that's where they're building like McGee Park up and stuff like that, so I don't know. I think just the distance wise seems a little bit much, I guess in my opinion, that's just me.
I'm okay with the distance.
I mean, I get why, trust me. Like, I don't think we need $5,000 stores around here, but it's just reference the distance-wise, like that's quite a distance, I guess, in this town. You know, 2 miles in this town is the whole town. So, something to think about.
Do you need a motion to come on the public hearing?
Any other,
Don't we have to do the other two?
well, if you have any, if anybody got any other comments, questions?
I think we gotta close public.
Yeah, that's.
And
Yeah,
then we
I'm just
can
gonna
vote.
wait for, make sure there's no other comments or questions. If not, we will, look for a motion to come out of to close the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We got roll call.
Yeah.
All right. Steve?
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Okay. Mike?
Aye.
All right, the public hearing is now closed. So now, Matt, you're looking for commission's guidance for how
Yeah.
to proceed?
On each one of these, if the
On
commission
each
could. do a
separate amendment?
one. Yep.
All right, is there any opposition to moving any of these amendments to council?
Can we move them all three at once, or do we gotta make a motion for each?
If, as long as the commission feels that they all have the same judgment on all three and they want to bundle all three of the ordinances together, they can.
We'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to put forward 635-9D, 635-21I, and 635-55G to council as written.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next on the agenda, other business. Next meeting scheduled for Monday, May 6th. Anything else, Matt?
No.
Okay.
That's it?
That's it.
That's it. Looking for one
Make a
other
mo-
thing.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.